Great. Thanks for being here. Cheers, boys.
Cheers to you, Craig.
Cheers. Cheers.
Well done,
Craig.
Yeah, based on someone being the king of the world, and they get to make all the rules. So if there was no law, or if you could make the law, and you would nab these creeps, and instead of filming their license plate and filming them, what would you do? Would you be vengeful? Would you say, this guy's a pedophile, I have a gun, I'm going to shoot him, I'm going to erase that person from the world? Or what would you maybe do? There's no law. This is the crew live.
Yeah,
you get to make all the rules.
See, the thing with death is it's too quick.
Oh.
There you go. Sure. So what?
It's too quick. So
Again,
so
this
why
is
not?
fantasy. This is a fantasy.
Why
world.
not take them all and put them all in a group that's like on an island or wherever it may be, in an area that's secluded? That they all just live there together. They have to grow their own food. They have to learn how to live. And maybe if we put them all in a secluded area and they have to learn to get along with each other, grow their own food, provide for themselves, all this stuff, maybe they'd fix themselves.
And you creeps know there's no internet service on that island either.
Yeah.
I'm gonna. Or maybe they just murder and kill each other.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to disagree with you there. I think I don't think death is too quick. I think that those people, they get along. They're among us. They're getting along in society.
Lots of them don't, though. Lots of them don't.
Okay.
Because lots of them they do it behind the closet. So once they see another one, they're like, "Oh, you're so disgusting. I'm gonna, attack you." So lots of them don't get along solely for the fact they're behind the closet. As soon as they see one, out in the open, out in the public that's doing it freely, they'll attack upon him just to keep themselves from looking bad.
To stay within the social norm, the acceptable social norm,
Exactly.
which makes a heck of a lot of sense. I think anybody would make that choice if they could. Now, you're going on scene to meet a creep. Okay? So what are you thinking? What are you feeling? Do you have a strategy that's kind of formulaic, or do you say, I'm going to just play this one by my gut?
I've started to form a strategy of where I get my group, I find whichever one's ready to go, because some of these times, if it's, we talk to them for a day or something, I can plan it. But some of them, if they bite or whatever you want to call it, within 5-10 minutes, I have to have a guy I can be like, okay, let's go. And then I try and make it or delay it in some way that I can meet up with the crew or the guy that I'm working with, whoever, and sit down, talk to them, explain to them how bad or how good this guy could be, in situations of aggression. If he seems like he's going to, possibly attack at us, possibly, or even simply if he's going to just drive away right away. We try and depict that before we come.
So how do you glean that kind of information, profiling this individual like that? How do you
it's not so much profiling. Lots of guys, you can tell how often they've done it or not done it by the way they talk lots of times. For instance, if a guy's talking to you and he's like, well, I'm not sure. Well, I'm not sure. Well, I'm not sure. Or, they don't sound sure. That's obviously a beginner. So he's usually, not always, usually, and he's more likely to be a guy that you're going to catch on video. He's probably not even going to notice the video right away. Then he's going to be like, oh, shit, I messed up. And he's going to take off. Whereas if it's a guy that's like, oh, yeah, let's do this, let's do that, they sound like an experienced person, just like with anything. You can tell who's experienced usually. And if they sound like an experienced person, well, that might be a guy that's more inclined to possibly carry a weapon because he's used to meeting people online. He knows that, people online aren't always what they
he's
say.
Going to be involved in, sure.
Yeah. So
what are the consequences if you're reaching out to somebody, trying to catch them, and they call you out, say, hey, you're 13, you're 14-year-old, why are you doing this? I need to report this to...
Lots of times guys like that, they're like, oh, that's wrong, blah, blah. I've actually told a couple of them, hey, what's your number? Or, hey, what's this? And I call them if they give me their number, and I thank them.
Yeah.
I thank them for being so, such good people. And if they don't give me their number, I do it right on the thing. I risk losing my account doing this, but I'll thank them right on the thing for doing that. Just because it's a great thing. If you deny it and you say, you know what, I can't do that, you deserve nothing but props for that. You're a great person if you're like, you're underage, I can't be doing this, or I have a daughter that's that age, that's completely wrong, or whatever. That's great. I've had a couple of those personally I'm sure everyone that's part of it has had a couple of those, and it makes me feel good inside to see it.
I want to know, who are the kids? Like, I know it's hard to put everyone in compartmentalize and put them into a box. Who are the underage kids
that are actually doing
the chat, hooking up with an older guy and having sex or doing whatever that they're doing? Who are the kids?
Well, what do you mean by this? Like, you want to know what kind of profile the kids are?
Give me a profile.
Like these young ladies actually exist.
Yeah.
It's actually like, it's hard to put, because like lots of times, like sometimes, I shouldn't say lots of times, sometimes they're just like someone that's troubled, someone that gets neglected, stuff like that. But then there's the odd time where it's someone that gets too much attention, too much love from the family, and they want to branch off from that. And then sometimes it's, just an average kid clicked on the wrong link and started doing it.
So there's no rhyme or reason, really.
No, there's like, you can't put it into a group, because it could be anyone.
Okay.
Have you been on a creep catcher scene, or one of your colleagues, and somebody said, "Man, you busted me. I'm a millionaire. I'll give you 10 grand to shut your mouth and run away"?
I haven't ran into that yet, but other crews have yet.
Is that right?
You watched Dawson's video last night. Did you see that one where it was a guy of foreign descent? He was it was like a Camry car. He was around 40-year-old looking guy.
Right, and I
saw so many. I didn't even.
It looked like a.
We're not throwing
taxi.
Toyota under the bus on this.
Okay.
But anyways,
Abandoned cars. It's a Chevelle.
he busted that guy, and the guy's like, "Well, what do you want? Do you want money? Do you want this?" And yeah, we get that, right? And it's something that like we have.
It's not
to,
a shakedown. It's a get your shit together.
Yeah,
You're
and
sick.
and we will.
Yeah.
We can't accept. We can never do and never would accept that money either. It's like, you're busted. It means a lot. Money means nothing to us, crew. Like, if we get donations, it's awesome. It helps us, keep doing what we're doing. But most of us, like, if someone's like, here's $300, it means a lot more than $300 to bust them to us. It means a lot more to, know we saved a kid's life or something. $300 will never pay for a kid's life. Like, that guy could offer me $1 million, and that doesn't pay for a kid's life. No. So,
do you deal differently with public officials, or men or women of the cloth that may be caught as creeps?
No, I think every creep, every predator, they're all the same.
Every creep.
Any Catholic priests been caught yet?
No, I caught a teacher though.
Oh, what's his name?
That I can't discuss.
In the city of Saskatoon?
Yeah.
So
wow.
And that's what makes me think. As I watched this, like I said, I was a little disturbed last night watching all these videos, and it got me thinking: who are the kids? Who are the creeps? Like, how? And maybe I'm naive. Like, how many creeps can there be in our city? How many guys that would be doing this, preying on, 12, 13-year-old girls? Like, I just for me, I can't.
What is that? Is there a number?
The first day I started chatting on the internet to do this, from 6 in the morning till 9 in the morning, I found 150 of them. 4 of them were from Alberta, 127 of them were from Saskatoon.
And they knew this was a 15-year-old that they were dealing with.
127 locally in 3 hours.
One guy.
And so
One guy.
Is that? Where when you say chat online, where do you go?
That was on Plenty of Fish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, there is obviously plenty of fish out there for creep catchers, Craig. Like, it's astonishing that you can find these people regularly, daily, and I hope we're thinning the herd out somewhat. Is it not partly the goal to say, okay, we've caught you, you're obviously ashamed, because the response to these gents, I don't know why I called them gents, that was just misappropriated. These people, these creeps on camera, they're just kind of shocked. They're stunned that there's somebody confronting them about their shameful behavior.
And that's where it goes to show, like, there hasn't been enough done about it. There hasn't been. The last guy caught that I uploaded, that Scott, his name was Scott Wallace. He was the guy that drove the silver truck that was paying the girl $300. From what we've heard and understood, we're not 100%, we can't quote this, but from what we've heard and understand, he's been doing this for 3 years.
Is that right?
Uncaught.
Wow.
Yeah, and
it took me around 10 minutes on a Friday night to catch him.
And Scott Wallace used
just hang on, we got a producer out here who wants to say
And
something.
that's why you're uploading this, as opposed to just gathering evidence and giving it to the city police or RCMP you're posting it online to try and speed up the process?
No.
Why are you putting it on the YouTube as opposed to just giving your information to the city or RCMP?
One, parent awareness, so parents can understand what's going on. You know, they can understand, like, we gotta change our ways of how we're protecting our kid. We gotta change how we're, you know, raising our kid. We gotta change, you know, maybe my 10-year-old kid shouldn't have an iPad, shouldn't have an iPod, shouldn't have access to the internet without me around, stuff like that. So one's awareness. Two, it's if, like, I believe in what the states do. Everyone should know who to watch out for. Who's out there preying on kids, who's out there, you know, kidnapping kids. Everyone should have the right to know who's doing that. You should not have to, you know, possibly be working with one by your side for 5 years and not know it. Then all of a sudden your daughter goes missing and you don't even clue in that it's him because you never knew.
And you don't ever worry about a civil suit from a defense lawyer coming after you saying, okay, you put this on, you slandered him, now he's going to lose his job, lose his friends, has to move out of the city, and he's found innocent later on in a court of law? You don't worry about that coming back around to you at some point?
Yes and no, not really, but for the most part, like, when we're talking to the guy, if you've read the chat logs, lots of times, like, we make sure the guy knows the age. Like, for the first guy, for instance, he even said right on the chat log, well, isn't this illegal, blah, blah, blah. You know, he knew it was illegal.
15-year-old.
Yeah.
And then, like, as an adult, it's your job to know what's legal and what's not, right? So even if, say, a 15-year-old told you, let's do this, let's do that, and then you're like, is that illegal? If they tell you no and you do it, it's still illegal. Doesn't change it. That's like you driving down a road, speeding or whatever, and you don't see the sign for what the speed limit is. You get pulled over. Well, there's no sign, so don't give me a ticket.
So then again, you're confirming that you have enough information in there before you put it on the YouTube. And that's my next question to you as well, is what's your ongoing education in this? You said you took a very short course through Creep Catchers Canada to get your skill set up where it is. How are you improving your skill set and improving your knowledge base to continue with what you're doing?
The best way to learn is hands-on, really. With anything, that's what I think. Anything you want to do, it's best to learn hands-on, because, you know, everyone's going to be different. So if, say, I went and, you know, got the cops form of training, well, the thing with the cops form of training, it teaches you for the average individual, what happens if all of a sudden you meet someone that's trained to kill someone in seconds. Like, you can't direct yourself to one form of training in one way and expect that to save your life.
I'm not quite understanding where you went with that.
So what I'm starting to glean from that is that your training feels like it's ongoing because you're out there experiencing these interactions. I think part of our question was the training so that you know how to navigate the legal issues that come up, as well as the emotional issues, as well as the psychological issues, and any intellectual hurdles that come along the way. That training doesn't seem to continue, except that you experience these interactions daily.
We learn every day. We learn more and more and more because we do it hands-on, right? We go and deal with this guy. Well, he was this way. We go and deal with this guy. He's different. Now we learned that different way.
Okay, time out for a second. So again, Creep Catchers is, you said, across Canada, correct?
Yeah.
Is it a proper Creep Catchers Canada corporation almost, or not quite?
What do you mean by that?
I don't think
How is the organization
It's
structured?
not a full organization structure then. It's kind of a casual structure. It's not a proper structure.
Yeah, it's like
Who regulates it?
That's what I'm asking.
Right.
Who regulates Creep
Creep
Catchers?
Catchers.
we do it ourselves.
Okay, so you don't have
There's no board of directors.
No, you don't have anybody
That's what you're going
overseeing
on?
your skill set.
Pardon me?
You don't have anybody overseeing what you're doing, or anybody giving lectures to improve. Like, you don't have, well, let's meet in Toronto as a group and talk about this and improve our skill set together as a group.
Yeah, we
It's
do.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to find out. So
we,
you kind of
Informal seminars.
We have a chat that we're all part of that we talk, and, you know, when we are catching someone, we'll send, like, the chat logs, or when we catch someone, send the video, and, you know, give each other constructive criticism and stuff like that to, you know, make ourselves better from what each other have learned. Dawson and me want to do a tour. He's going to come here and we're going to do a bus together one of these days, and we're going to transfer information. I personally want to do this. I'm going to try and get Dawson to do it to me. Want to go to, like, all the newer crews, because there's people that are way newer than me doing it. Go to them and, you know, try and help them out, try and talk to them, teach them better, different ways, whatever, and stuff
That's
like
where
that.
my concern is as well, is because it feels like there's a lot of startup jump out of the left corners calling yourself a creep catcher. Not necessarily you, but like you said, people newer than you are doing this.
Producer, I'll
without
make room
any-
for you on the couch if you want.
Any proper training, soon come. Without any proper training, and at what point, like you said earlier on, becomes a legal issue where you, A, I don't know if you're doing criminal records checks on your own guys at all, or B, getting any background information. Like, it's not a resume you apply for your job. It's just, you want to do this? Let's do this.
No, what they do is we don't give them the training. We kind of explain them how to do it though properly and how to stay protected. They go and do their first one. This is how it usually happens. They go and do their first one, send it to us, and then we depict whether they're right or not for it.
Determine
And
if
we
they-
determine
And the whole
it.
thing is too is if Rich and I wanted to do this, there's nothing stopping us.
Right.
Rich and I can start our own organization. We can call it Creep Catchers.
Within the parameters,
Z.
within the parameters of the law.
Within the
Right.
parameters of
Yeah,
law. But
so,
as,
I mean, at the end
as
of
your
the day,
organization, you don't have a patent on this. You don't
No.
have any
we-
rights to say you can't do this. This is
Yeah.
So
ours.
where is your talk show training, Curtis or Rich, from?
My-
Where did that come from?
I mean, this
Where
is
did
not a
your-
new
obviously
concept.
nowhere.
Where did your online video presentation training come from?
I
So-
attended Juilliard.
We all know it's not a new concept, what he's doing.
Right.
Yeah.
No.
But he got off the couch
Yeah,
and he
Dateline.
thought he could make a difference.
Well,
and
and-
that's what he's doing now,
Yeah.
right? You don't need any formal education to try and prevent a crime from happening
No.
and saving a child. And if we sit back and wait to get the training and be educated and make sure all the laws are in line and we got all our ducks in a row and we take 1, 2, 3 years to do that, how many kids are going to get victimized?
Exactly.
Well, then there's sectors.
So-
There's sectors of society that really are adverse to what you're doing, the way you're doing it, particularly because we're right. We're a legal entity here in the way we function in society. But if you look at societies historically, long before any policing agency decided to rise up and say we're gonna begin an investigation team for this,
Yeah.
society would manage these things themselves, right? Society would say, okay, Trev, we heard about this guy that he's been after Rich's 13-year-old daughter. We better go deal with him.
Yeah, but then
And-
the issue with that then is where's the burden of proof? You know what I mean? You need to make sure that that's the right thing, and I think that's where the law steps in. Is that then now you have to prove to a court, to a higher standard, that yeah, this guy is a predator to that, as opposed to hearsay.
And
And
Craig
just saying,
doesn't want to prove that.
No,
Craig's
that's
not
not-
out
he's
here
not-
to be. He's not here to crucify people.
I know, but
Actually, he said he was here to prove that, to get it on the YouTube to try and inform parents.
Not to satisfy the law, though.
No, to inform parents for future benefit and help kids in the future so it does not happen to them, correct?
But I think
At
that
the
as
same
much
time,
as
you're gathering all the evidence you're gathering before you put it on there is all should be documented. You're trying to do as well, right? You're trying
Yeah.
to cross all your T's, dot all your I's before you put it on there.
Yeah,
to cover
yeah.
your ass.
For their own
Yeah.
protection, though, not so that they can provide the police this body of evidence so they can make a conviction.
Both.
Well, it sounds like you'll take a conviction, but that's
Yeah.
not your primary goal.
No.
Was that creep catcher's goal to get guys convicted?
No,
'Cause
not
you're
at
doing-
all.
no, if you want to do
Right.
that, become an officer.
Right, that's
what
right.
you
The,
do.
the goal is to get the court of public opinion seeing
Yeah.
these douchebags are out there
Yeah.
trapping, taking 15-year-old,
Actually,
13-year-old.
Jim, you're
12-year-old
speaking for him. What is your goal?
Well, I can speak for him because it's the crew live. I've
You
heard
can
his
speak
goal.
for him. I want to actually hear
Well,
what
well,
his
you'll
goal
hear
is.
from him, but I'm-
actually, one more question may I ask from the sidelines?
You get in the coach.
I'm not getting the coach. I'm on the sidelines.
Yeah.
But what is your long-term goal with this? What are you going to do 5 years from now, 10 years from now? What is the goal with what you're doing right now?
We don't know. We're just gonna keep doing what we're doing until one day. We all hope, honestly. We all hope one day it comes to an end.
Is your goal for
We hope
convictions?
we hope
Yeah.
we run out of
We all
videos
hope
to
that.
do.
Is your goal for convictions, or was
Amen
your goal
to that, right?
No,
Yeah.
he just said what his goal was. He just
One
said his
creep
goal
at
is
a
that he hopes he
time.
never has to do it.
Yeah, but that doesn't elaborate on how that goal takes
Yeah.
form, right? So the
Well-
goal, like if you look at the creep catcher's website, it doesn't say we're trying to get these people into the hands of the police.
We're
right?
not. We're not at all. We're doing it for the parents and to prevent it and stuff like that. But
Boom.
on the other case, if the law does come to us and say, you know what, we want this information, we think we can use this information, damn rights we'll give it to them and let them get a conviction out of it. But our sole goal is for the parents and the children.
So if I
Education.
education, so
Education, kid. The internet is extremely dangerous. There are
Yeah.
many pitfalls in the internet for teens.
No, I
right,
think,
Rich, give it to them.
I think also with you're trying to prevent and put some fear into that pederast is that when he picks up his phone and he starts chatting, he's thinking, oh shit, that's that guy.
For sure.
That's it. That's
Good
it right
call.
there.
Yeah.
If I can paraphrase,
That's the guy.
A quote from the end of your last video was that, you know what? Every time you do this, it's going to be me or one of my friends.
Yeah. Not it might be me.
Right? Or it might, well,
it's
whatever.
get-
It
no,
might be me.
will
or-
be.
Yeah, you
No,
don't
it's
say.
not
You wouldn't want to
will
say
be.
that.
Yeah, it'll be
It's
me or
gonna
it'll be one of
me.
my friends.
Yeah.
And if we can
It's
get
gonna
that
be me.
message out to enough of these people,
Oh, you're
Yeah.
so kind.
I'm not reining it in now.
It's uncensored. You can
I
say
don't
what you
have
want.
what it takes to be a creep catcher.
Yeah.
With red smear on the landscape.
Creep killer?
Yeah. Is there an organization for that?
Creep killing.
Because I can get behind that.
I think that you'd have to go third world for that.
But you know, if we let enough of these creeps know that people like you are out there, if there's enough people like you out there, maybe it will come to an end.
So what did
And-
they do
and-
before?
and
what did
not-
they do 20 years ago?
Well,
What-
not
These
only
creeps?
yeah.
on your side note, not only that, lots of times when we do this, the cops do go and take their phones, take their Wi-Fi and stuff like that until they can trace it down to exactly what's going on.
Right.
So lots of times they do like lose the capability to even go online and do it again. Lots of times they like in other places. I'm not sure if this has happened with my guys yet that I've caught, but with other people, some guys have lost their licenses. Guys I've done, the first guy I did in the red truck, he lost his job within 45 minutes. He was scared to even go show himself. He went to school. He was scared to even show himself at school.
Well, I think that's what our producer is talking about also. At the end of the day, that could come back as a civil suit against you. Like, oh, maybe, you know, I'm not that bad guy. That you nailed me this one time, but I'm not that bad guy, and you just ruined my entire life. Now what?
Do you
You
care?
know,
and
Do you
especially
care if you
with
go
no
to jail
structure,
because
no-
you've
and
screwed
they're-
up somehow?
Well, he's
in your
already
work?
said he doesn't, right?
Right.
Who-
Better to ask forgiveness than permission.
Who would you even
catch
like,
these guys?
Who would get involved in litigation? It'd have to be the individual because there is no corporation, there is no company. There's
Well, we
there's
got
nothing
Bill
like that.
Cosby's and Jan Gomeshi's fighting these charges against them in our world. There's going to be dudes that are going to fight the charges of the creep catchers as well.
Well,
Yeah.
it's not their charges.
Right.
but-
It's the court of
charges-
public
yeah.
opinion,
Yeah.
which we all know is far more damning than any legal court.
Yeah.
So I want again.
Okay,
like,
a
I was
couple more questions, then
I
we
was
gotta
trying
wrap
to-
this
I was
session.
trying to get in on that real quick, and I was talking about
Sure.
is it with the internet, with the chatting, with this plenty of fish
Yeah.
and all that. This is, let's say, relatively new kind of technology.
Yeah.
So yes, like so 20 years ago, 25 years ago, you know, when I was 10, 12 years old, what were these creeps doing? How are these creeps acting out, or are there more creeps now due to this avenue?
I don't have the studies to say whether
Yeah,
there's more or not. But
we don't do studies on the Crew to Live. We just make it up.
But
Clearly, they were just snagging kids, throwing them in their truck, and taking them to.
No, like I see.
no, I would say it's more along the lines of if you like. I'm sure when you were a kid, you went to school, right, and everything. Lots of times, that's what they did. They went to schoolyards. When I was a kid, I remember, cops coming, busting guys on schoolyards. Because even when I was a kid, there wasn't much for internet when I was young, right?
No, Craig.
So there was cops that would bust people at schoolyards. There was people that worked at daycares that were getting caught, stuff like that. Like it was still around. I can't say whether
It's
it was
always been
more.
around.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
an
Yeah.
age-old problem.
Yeah,
It's
been around
always been
forever.
around.
I can't say whether it was more or less because like that would be just plain
know what I
I
stupid.
think our
of me to
awareness
claim.
of it,
I-
our awareness of it, because of our globalization and media being what it is, our access to internet and everything, our awareness of it. I mean, you didn't ever hear about the pederast in Florida that exposed himself to a child 25, 30 years ago,
Right.
but you do now.
Right. And I agree with that 100%. But I think my point is too is one, when someone's given that avenue, they have all this access. Also now they're looking at child porn,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like they have all this information,
you know
this
what?
access, and now something that was maybe an impossibility before has crept into your
realm
life.
of
Yeah.
Well, and
possibility.
okay, so we're
Sure.
going to end on that note because something that was out of the realm of possibilities when I was a 7 and 11-year-old boy, there wasn't anybody like you out there trying to hunt down
Yeah.
these losers that were trying to throw me in their white windowless van, okay?
Yeah.
Because that happened in our community, not to me, but to others in that period. But now, because of the age we're in, we have the opportunity to track down these creeps with people like Craig and the creepcatchers.ca. And we have this privilege now to see other people seemingly taking the law in their own hands, but in fact looking for justice in the way that they want to protect little children from harm. And you know, Craig, it's been amazing sitting here hearing your story. Perhaps you and Don might think about coming on again when he comes to town. You can, when he sees how we've done here together. Any closing remarks or questions from any of you guys? Producer, any closing thoughts or questions before we cut Craig loose from the Crew Live?
I got no real comments, just except I think you guys need more organizational structure. Like you said, you have lawyers in Calgary, correct?
Yeah.
So I don't understand why your structure is not more organized, just to make sure that your education skill sets. I get what you're trying to do, and that you're trying to prevent and also educate parents and children on what potential is out there, because a lot of parenting doesn't happen in nowadays.
Yeah.
I just think you guys need way more protection for yourselves, for one.
We can't legally do it though.
Well, you can actually sort of legally do what you're doing, as long as, again, if you have your lawyers documenting what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know what?
But
I'm sorry. I'm gonna disagree with you there, because we've seen it with other grassroots, community-based organizations. What do they call themselves? They wear the red sateen jackets, the Red Knights or whatever. You know, in other cities, and it's just a community-based. You know, where they kind of patrol their neighborhoods and
it's the
stuff.
Black Knights.
And they're whatever, the Knights.
Yeah.
And they're organized, and cities, policing, city organizations, the city councils don't want them. And so as soon as you organize something, as soon as you put a name and a label on it, now it becomes a scary thing. This is a real grassroots organization. I applaud what you're doing. I hope you continue, and I hope you continue without consequence to yourself.
Yeah.
But if you
I got
want
it.
to
It's the Black
continue, you also
Panthers.
need a growth plan.
It was
you
the
need
Black
an organization, and you need a long-term
the Black
plan. If
Yes,
you
it
want,
was.
if you want to continue.
Yeah, but like I said, like we're all learning while doing it, right? That will come with time.
Yeah.
Right now, what we're doing is we're making parents aware. We're saving children's lives. Like any of these guys we caught, that could have been someone's daughter killed, raped, drugged, any of that stuff. So we're doing that. That's our main focus right now. Whether or not the cops want to bust us, give us crap, any of that's above us. That's above our heads. Right now, we're focused on we're saving kids, and we're making parents aware of what's going on with this world.
Yeah, I said it earlier, and I'll say it again. The police are going to do what the police do, and you do what you do.
Yeah.
And right now, I'm sure every day you're probably saving some child from a horrific, life-altering event.
And you know what, guys, we got to shut this down. And in the glorious convergence that society often brings, the police will converge with the creep catchers, hopefully in beneficial ways to society. And we've been pleased to converge with the creep catchers in this moment. So thank you for being part of the Crew Live. As I asked, I want to know if you and Dawn might come on in the future. I'll be in touch with you.
Yeah.
And we're going to end on that note, and we'll watch creep catchers. I'm certain catch hundreds of more creeps and save thousands of more lives and sexual abuse from occurring. So thank you very much.
Thanks for coming.
We got some surprise coming
Thanks
up.
for coming,
appreciate
Craig.
it.
Got some surprise.
Great work.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to let the camera know that's your camera? What your surprise? The surprise for the creep catchers is?
The main surprise is you lots of people think, okay, they expanded a little bit. We got about around 20 people we're training right now in different cities.
All right.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Yeah,
good job. Hey, cheers to you. Okay, cheers it up, boys. Okay, thanks for being part of this series, this session of the Crew Live. The crew will be back in session with another awesome topic that's going to be scintillating once again. And thanks to Ray Charles for his affableness and being part of our day.